Good afternoon.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys. It's me and Alex again. Welcome to our regular midday webinars. For those of you that were watching yesterday, we didn't have Alex, so it's nice that she's back with us.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Hi. Yes, yesterday we had another colleague with us, another corporate teacher called Natalie, which you all may have seen. But today we are back to normal. Yes, yeah, okay.
The dream team.
The dream team, yeah, fantastic. And of course, the bells
are ringing. Yes,
the bells are cueing
it's officially midday.
Yeah, and Natalie was laughing yesterday when the bells started. She said, "Does this happen every time?" I said, "Yes." I said, "I live right next door to a church." I said, "This is a cue for everybody over Italy now. When they hear the bells go, and they know it's a business webinar, yeah,
yes,
at 12 o'clock." So, quickly again, guys, as we do at the beginning, for those of you who may not know us. As we said previously, my name is Richard. I'm joined with Alex up there, yes, or she is joined by me. I don't know, which either you want to look at it. And I'm originally from Wales in the UK, and I have been living in Milan for 4.5 years, 5 years. I've lived in some other countries also. But now I'm living here, and I am a corporate teacher in Milan at the school in Meravigli. And Alex?
Yes, hello everyone once again. My name is Alex. I also am a corporate teacher, which means that I mainly teach companies and individuals who wish to study English or use it for their jobs. If you are following us right now, we would like to know where you're from, your name, and if you work, what your job is. So just to make this webinar more useful for you. I am half American and half Italian, and I also teach in the school of Milano Meravigli.
Okay, great. And as Alex said, yes, if you want to write a comment in, please do. Telling us who you are, where you are viewing from, and anything, guys, that you want to ask. Yes, throughout the webinar. It doesn't even have to be related to the subject, but if you have any questions, please ask. This is why we are here to help you as much as we can. So anything you want to know, please write a comment. Okay, so the business focus we have chosen for today is about emails, and we have the second lesson on emails at intermediate level, and the title of the focus is Power in Numbers. Okay. And it's just quite interesting, actually, because we both had different ideas about this, didn't we? Your idea about power in numbers, Al?
Yeah, why do we use this expression? So you will hear my interpretation and Richard's, and they're both correct. So the same expression can be used to mean two slightly different things. We could use it to say that numbers, when used in our conversation or our emails, are able to back up, so to give strength to what we're saying. So if we want to be more convincing, we sometimes use numbers to back up, to strengthen our message, what we want to say. That's why we say power in numbers.
Okay, And I automatically thought of another definition of this, which was we have an expression, power in numbers, or you could actually say strength in numbers, when you are talking about people maybe working together. Yes, when people are working as a team, maybe if you have better results, or you can work better when there are more people working together than if you are working on your own. Okay.
Something like two heads are better than one.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Or three, or four, or five. Yeah,
Right.
depending on the size of the team. So yeah, the power in numbers here could also be do with teamwork. Okay.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about how numbers or ordering things can help us structure our emails more effectively. So,
Perfect.
in detail, in this business activity, we're going to see how to divide up tasks by email, and we're going to compare formal and informal styles in emailing. All this will help us also understand how to better organize a to-do list.
Perfect.
So let's start.
Okay, the first slide, getting it together. Think about some of the more complicated tasks you perform at work. Does anything you do require a step-by-step procedure, like a sequence? Before you start on big projects or tasks, do you map out your tasks in steps? Why or why not? Then we have some examples of how you would map out using numbers, ordinal numbers, where we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then. Okay.
Well,
Go on, Alex. Sorry.
I just wanted to point out the meaning of step. So, just to make sure that we are all understanding what it means. So, a step can mean actually two things. If you have a ladder, those things are called steps, the ones we go on to go up or go down, they're steps. Also, more in general, a step is when you put your foot in front of the other and you move. So you're taking one step. So that's why we say step by step procedure, in the sense that we are taking one action after the other and you are describing them in the correct order.
Perfect. And those steps get you from one point to another point, A to B or A to D. So as Alex said, we use this as a saying, yes, to get from maybe a beginning to an end, and the process on how you do it. Between that beginning process and that end process, there'll be little steps, yes, that you progress and progress and progress and progress until you achieve, you reach or you achieve your result. Okay, so let's think, Alex, our more complicated tasks at work.
Well,
is there anything you do?
We are teachers. We are teachers. So when we have to plan a lesson, what we do is decide moment by moment what we're going to talk about, if it's grammar, if it's vocabulary, if it's pronunciation, and so on. And we decide how we want to do things in order for them to be as clear as possible for our students. So we normally do a step-by-step procedure. Some people have it very detailed, others just use a reminder. like bullet points just to remind themselves what to say and what to do, but it is a step by step. So first I do something, then I do something else, and finally I say, I revise what I've taught, and I end the lesson.
Perfect. No, perfect, Alex. Yeah, like Alex said, even when we plan our lessons, we have a beginning, middle, and end. Okay, just to make this more simplified. But in between the beginning, middle, and end, we might have smaller steps depending on what we are teaching. And when we use the phrase to map out, yeah, this is when we identify what we need to do, yes, in those steps, when we organize it, when we plan it, yes. So you can apply this to maybe a lot of different things in life in general anyway. And the reason we are using this for this subject, like we told you maybe a couple of weeks ago, in an email, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this normally requires a step-by-step procedure. How we're going to start the email, what we're going to speak about in the middle, how we're going to end it. And for this, we map out normally what we are going to put in that email, what the content is. I don't know if I don't know what the Italian education system is like, but we applied this when we were in secondary school. When we did English language as a lesson, our teachers, we had to write a lot of essays. Yes, okay, just to practice our language, and our teachers would always show us how to plan your essays.
Well, that is more, I must say, that is more an English approach. The structure of an essay is very well defined. You have a general introduction where you introduce the points you want to talk about, then you explode those points in separate paragraphs, and then you close everything together in the conclusion. I think that especially in high school or middle school, they also approach essays, but the structure is sometimes less rigid. So you don't necessarily have one paragraph for an idea. You may have a more varied approach to discussing this. But it's a really good point, because to do this structuring, we use, as you can see on the bottom, we use ordinals. Ordinals are when we put the numbers in a line and we say this is first, this is second, and then it's third. And all these words are actually adverbs. So they tell us we use these words to create a sequence. So let's just look at carefully how these words are built. So we have first, a way to contract first is to write a 1 and ST. Then comes second. Its contraction is 2 and ND in small. Then comes third. So we have a 3 and RD in small. And then from number 4 on, we just add TH. So it's fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on, up to the, forever.
Yes, it's only the first 3 in each sequence are, I guess we could say, irregular. Yes, they don't follow a specific. So anything with a 1, even if it's 21, it would be 21st, as Alex said. ST. 22, you'll have the ND for 22nd, and then the 23rd, the RD, which is in the top right-hand side of the figure, yeah, small letters, and then after that, you just use th.
Right. Good point.
Okay.
Okay. So let's.
We can have a look at an email. Yeah, we can have a look at the email next, aren't we?
Right. Exactly. Let's go to the
Okay.
email, and we're going to look at this email in which the writer and the receiver are planning, are talking about some tasks. So the writer will define which tasks need to be done and the order. So shall I read?
Yeah, you go ahead. You read it.
Okay,
Perfect.
so hi Sarah. First and foremost, thanks for taking on the managerial duties for the restaurant. The opening is near and we're all very excited, but there are still a few tasks to be done. First, now that we've finalized the location, we need to negotiate the lease and agree on a move-in date. Second, after that's done, we need to coordinate with the electrician to install all necessary equipment. When this step is finished, let's get on the phone and discuss the restaurant's operational hours. This will greatly depend on your waiting staff, considering we need a full and capable crew. Speaking of which, have you started interviewing? Thanks, thanks again for all your hard work, James Nicholson.
Okay. So, oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, guys, we can have a look. We want you to think whether this email is formal or informal first. And then, when you have decided whether it's informal or informal, why? And we are going to use evidence from the email to support your answer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think this shouldn't be too much of a problem for our students, Alex,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
because the opening is a giveaway a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, I must say.
So, is this formal or informal?
This is an informal email.
Okay.
Yeah, although they're talking about work, these two people, so Sarah and James, clearly are very close or are quite direct in the way they talk to each other. Probably they know each other well. So this allows for using an informal register, although they're talking about work.
Yes. As we said in one of our previous webinars about emails, we said, think about your target audience. Think about who you are writing to. Yes, in certain circumstances for business or for work, you can be maybe slightly less formal. Yes.
Yes,
so it's no difference in Italian to English. Think about who you're writing to, yes, and then you know which type of language you can use.
What is appropriate, exactly.
Yeah, but this is informal, but because it's about work, it's what I would say. It's not very informal. It still follows a little bit of a structure. Yes, and some of the language is quite nice. There's no slang, maybe, or colloquialisms. Yes. So let's support our reason for saying it is informal.
Yes, let's highlight the elements in the letter, in this email, that show that this is informal. So we're going to start from the opening. It's hi, Sarah. We said that for more formal emails, we would normally start with hello. So this is hi. It's more colloquial. Then comes thanks.
Okay. And something we mentioned in our previous webinar was normally in formal emails, we don't use the contracted form. So for this, we would have said thank you if it was formal. Okay. The next one, Alex, is the same. Yes.
Yes, always a contraction. We have we've, and previously there's a we're. So both forms are contracted forms. The extended would be we are all very excited, or we have finalized the location. In informal emails, we can use contractions such as thanks, we've, we're.
Mhm.
Then
Okay.
there is let's.
Okay, which would be let us get on the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
And the next.
The next is thanks again. Again, we see the contracted form for thank you.
Okay. And the last one is a punctuation comment. Yes, we add an exclamation mark there where we can use them in maybe a
Yes.
formal email,
Yes.
but to me it's a little bit more of an informal
Yes.
grammatical style.
I think you, in general, let's say, in general, exclamation marks shouldn't be in a formal email. Of course, this is not a very rigid rule. It really depends on what you're saying, but in general, it should be avoided. I mean, the enthusiasm or the remark on the sentence you want to give may be obtained by different ways, in different ways, without using the exclamation mark. But that said, it can be used sometimes.
The thing is with a punctuation mark, because it's in a writing form, it could be misinterpreted.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes
Right.
that's why we avoid them. Yes.
Right.
If you look at that last sentence, thanks again for all your hard work. That could be a sarcastic comment.
All right.
If you don't know the person so well. Yeah.
Right.
And as Alex pointed out rightly, again in that email where she looked at another contraction, which is we're or we are, we also have in the second paragraph, second after that's done, I would have put that is done.
Right.
And there was another. No, maybe that's it, I think. No, there was another contraction that I noticed.
That's done. We are all. I don't see any others.
No, maybe it was that one. Sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
the writing is a little bit small for me to see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that we've understood that this is an informal email, let's look at the structure. So as you can see, the writer James gives a precise order for the tasks. And so let's look at the words that he uses for ordering the tasks. So we're going to start with first and foremost.
Okay. First, of course, we talked about because it's the first thing that we start with. Yes. Okay. First and foremost, is it's a word to emphasize the importance of
Right.
the beginning of what you want to start talking about, because he says he's highlighting the fact that he wants to say thank you first. Yes. And maybe also for him, it's maybe the most important thing he wants to do. So the first could just introduce the first point.
Right.
And if you combine it with foremost, you want to say this is the first point, and maybe the most important point. You put emphasis onto that. Yes?
Right. Not only it comes first in order, but it also is the most important one.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Alex, about foremost?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
it's my interpretation.
No. I totally agree. You, like I said, it's not just like the chronological order. I am also underlining the fact that this is extremely important, and that's why I'm talking about it first.
Okay.
Then comes the sequence of activities that we want to convey, and we start with saying first, like saying activity number 1. Now we finalize blah blah blah. So first
Perfect.
comes this, second comes something else. Sorry.
No, because I say, because he's looking at the tasks then, like you said.
Yes.
It's not so much of the, I want to say thank you first. Now let's get into the sequence of the task, the jobs that we need to do or need to look at. Okay.
Precisely. Then I'm using when and describing what, just to say that there is a sequence. So there is a how could I explain that? That once one action is concluded, then I can start planning for the following one. So when this step is finished, blah blah blah.
Perfect. You're referring to the step and when it's finalized. Yes. No, that's perfect. No, that's all right. It's good. Yeah.
And oops, sorry, that was the last one.
Yeah. It's okay.
Let's highlight these 3. I may add, just to finish the sequence, I may add finally, or in the end, or last, just to say that is the last action that I want to talk about. Okay, so now let's move on to a different type of email.
Okay, so here I'll introduce it if you like.
Sure.
We have the title "Get the Ball Rolling." Okay, and to get the ball rolling is an expression we use to start a procedure, to start an action. Yeah. Okay, let's get the ball rolling. Let's put this into practice.
Let's get to work.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. Okay, so the email, we start with the email. Dear Mrs. Larson, I would like to take this moment to thank you for all the help in our location search. Given that we now have our space on 4th Street and Main Avenue, we're very excited to move forward. Firstly, we would like to discuss the terms of the lease. Would you be free for a call tomorrow morning around 10 a.m.? Secondly, we would prefer a move-in date by the end of the month. Please advise on the feasibility of this. Lastly, just out of curiosity, did you receive any feedback from the building inspection yesterday? Thank you in advance for your answers to these very urgent concerns. Kind regards, Sarah Harden. Okay, so that's a nice email. Yes. Okay. Is this email formal or informal? Again, use support from the text to back up our reasoning. Okay. As we can see from the greeting, yes.
Yeah, we've highlighted the giveaway.
It's okay.
Of this letter.
This is formal.
Yes.
If you remember, guys, in our previous one, we said with formal emails, the standard way to start is with dear. You can't go wrong using dear. It's formal, it's nice, it's polite, it's correct. And here we've used the title of the woman, which is Mrs. And if you remember from our previous lesson, We use Mrs. when we know the woman is married. We use Miss when she is single, and Ms when we don't know if the woman is married or unmarried. Sometimes it's a dilemma. Oh, I'm not sure if she's married or married. Do I put Miss or Mrs.? And you could think one could offend. Yes. So if you're in doubt, you put Ms, and it's polite and correct. Okay.
Precisely.
Excuse me.
It's okay. So let's look at the other elements that allow us to understand that this is a formal email, as Richard was saying. I would like, as you can see, this is the extended full version of using, of I would like. It's not the contracted form I'd like. And it is also a modal. So in formal writing, we often use modals quite a lot to suggest or to be polite, basically to sound more polite when we're talking to the other person. So I would like to take this moment to thank you is more polite than saying thanks.
Yeah. Or I want to take this moment to thank you.
Right.
Basically, you could say, I want to take this moment to thank you, which is okay, yes. But to use the modal makes it a little bit more formal and a little bit more polite. And we said that in formal emails, we normally do use the modals. Yes?
Yes, exactly.
95% of the time, I would say, yes. Okay.
Right.
So here,
especially would.
yes.
Then comes thank you. Like I said, if I wanted to sound more informal, I would have simply said thanks. But in this case, I'm using the full expression thank you. Okay. Then there is we would like to discuss. There is a contracted form. Previously, there's a we're very excited, which is probably just a slip. It should be we are very excited. Again, we see the modal would, so we would like. And as you can see, it is used in the first person plural, we, in the sense that she is talking on behalf of a company, in this case is the restaurant. We often use we, informal emails related to jobs.
Yeah, it's what Alex spoke about a couple of weeks ago. When you are writing and you are representing the company, you normally use the plural form, which is we. Yes. Okay.
Right.
Sorry. No. We would like is very similar to at the beginning. We want to discuss the terms of the lease, but we want to is a little bit more direct. Using the modal makes it more indirect, but asking the same question.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just going forward. Again, we see another would. And again. And I think there's only one left. Thank you in advance. Again, you will see the extended version of the full expression, thank you.
Okay.
Maybe we can just notice some vocabulary, especially in the conclusion. Thank you in advance for your answers to these very urgent concerns. So concerns, if something concerns me, it means I am thinking about it, I'm worried perhaps. It is something that is very dear to me. So we can just call this concern. So thank you in advance for your answers to these very urgent matters is another sentence.
We also have the sentence towards the end also. Please advise on the feasibility of this. Feasibility, basically, a synonym could be the possibility of this. Yes, please advise on the possibility. Is this something we can do? Yes, okay.
Precisely.
The ability to do it also. So it's a very formal word to express this. Normally, when a company may have an idea for a project or a new service, they have a feasibility study. Yes, when they look at the possibility of, can this be done before we introduce it to the market? They don't want to introduce something to the market and find out it's not possible.
Exactly. Okay,
Okay.
so as before, we're now, oh, sorry, there is one more left, the kind regards. We have spoken previously in our first lesson on emails about greetings, and kind regards is definitely one of the most common ways to end a formal email. Other ways may be simply saying regards, or sincere regards, or sincerely. So these are all appropriate ways to end an email. And that being said, we're going to look now at words that we can use, expressions that we can use to order tasks in a formal email. All these words add up to the ones we have seen previously. So for example, first and foremost, first, second, and when. So,
Okay.
Richard,
So
would you like to see? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the first one we have is firstly.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You could use first or firstly.
Exactly.
Yeah. For me, there's no real difference. Is there a difference for you? I don't know.
Well, let's say that there is a slight difference. When we use first, we're saying task number 1 is such and such. When we say firstly, I'm saying, I'm just saying in the first position, there is, the meaning is nearly the same. It's just saying, if you want to underline the order, or if you want to underline the sequence, which is basically saying the same thing. Okay. So yeah, there is just a slight difference.
The next one we have then is secondly. Okay. And
then we have, lastly.
Lastly. And of course, a synonym of lastly, which I prefer, to be honest, is finally. For me, finally sounds a little bit better. I don't know, that's maybe more of a stylistic thing on...
I agree. It's probably more common, I think.
Maybe it's just me, yeah. And just to highlight something else, that going back to what Alex explained when we looked at the first slide, when we looked at the abbreviation of the ordinals, you can see here they've used in the second paragraph, first sentence, given our space, now we have a space on 4th Street. Yes?
Right.
They've used the TH there.
Contracted.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So that's showing you in black and white how it would be written.
Okay. So now,
anything else? Not for me, no. I mean, unless you want to...
I don't think so. No, we've spoken about... Oh, maybe just a note again on the sentence, please advise. we've seen in previous lessons regarding formal emails that when we write in formal English, we tend to choose words that are more sophisticated. So instead of saying, please tell us about the feasibility, we say advise. So advise is a more formal way of expressing tell.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the last one I would like to point out. Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, thank you in advance is a very typical phrase that we use when we are given the impression that we do want the reply. Yes, so it's like saying yes, we are expecting a reply. So
right.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of putting, look, you need to
Yeah.
answer this email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it just to soften that.
That request.
We say thank you in advance. Yes,
Right.
like we said before, guys, there are a lot of standard phrases that we use, and they don't change. Yeah, really, do they, Alex? It's only maybe the subject matter or the detail in sometimes the second paragraph that could change,
Exactly.
but a lot of the
Yeah.
opening stuff and closing stuff.
Yeah, and I think this is something that should comfort you when you're writing an email, because if you practice remembering these structures, you can be more concentrated and focused on the message you want to give without worrying, oh my God, how am I going to end this email? You know, there are some structures, some sentences that you can use. So you can put all your effort and concentration on making sure that the message is clear, that the actions are sequenced in the correct order, and that the grammar is correct and spelling is correct. So be assured that these opening sentences and closing sentences help you to feel more relaxed, that they're actually used and are effective. They work.
Yeah, they'll become automatic after a while, and as Alex said, then it gives you more opportunity to think of other things that maybe you want to include in the email.
Which is probably the most important thing that you need to say. Okay, so let's compare. We've seen an informal email, then we've seen a formal email, and each had some things that were similar. So let's contrast the different styles and fill in the missing words.
Okay, so as we said, one of the main things that we should remember about writing a formal and informal email is that a formal email doesn't use the contracted form. So in the informal email, we can use the informal form. So for the first one, we would have thanks instead of thank you.
Exactly. And as Richard was just saying, again, we may use the contracted form in the informal emails. So instead of cannot, do not, or we have, we could say can't, don't, and we.
Okay, for the next one, there are two possibilities for this. Maybe yes, we could use the full form of thanks. Thank you for everything. But as it's a closing statement, we would use maybe the more standard ones, which would be regards or best regards or kind regards. Yes?
Exactly.
I mean, there is nothing wrong with using thank you for everything, but to me, it does make it a little bit more a little bit more
Cheesy.
informal. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I agree. So we would just stick to the standard forms. It's in you can't go wrong.
Right, exactly. And again, you can simply say regards if you want.
Yeah.
As again, we have a contracted form in the informal email. Let's go, let's do. We use let's when we want to suggest something, when we want to propose to do something. And in the formal email, we would instead convey the same meaning by using modals such as would.
Perfect. Yeah. Would you prefer? Okay. And finally, using the ordinal.
Although it comes in first place in theory.
Okay, we have here the opening, which is Dear Sarah. For an informal email, you could write many things because it's informal. If you write into a friend, you can write as you want, but you could write hi, maybe. I don't know. I mean, how else?
I guess hi, yeah. Hi.
Hi, what's up? What's up, Sarah? I don't know. You know, you could just when it's informal.
You can even say hey, hey Sarah.
Hey, yeah. You speak as you would maybe over the phone to your friends, but in writing. So there are no real rules or regulations in an informal.
Let's say
email.
that informal writing is an attempt to put into writing what you say normally face to face or on the phone. So the language that you would normally adopt to talk to Sarah, you can use it by just simply writing it. That's why we use contractions. That's why we use expressions to greet, such as hi, because when we speak, we normally talk like that.
Yeah. And sometimes friends also have their own language. Yes.
Exactly.
And they use this language in emails to each other, slang, yeah. And so the rules and regulations there aren't so many. The formal, yes.
The formal,
okay.
Yes, exactly.
So
just to close, just to close, we're going to have a look at formal emailing, typical expressions that we can use in formal emailing.
Okay, so what we need to do is we are going to match the blue to the red to make it easy. So, did you receive feedback? Did you receive feedback from the building inspection?
Yes, to receive feedback from.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then, would you be free for a call tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. Perfect. We would prefer a move-in date by the month's end.
Please advise on the feasibility of this.
Okay. We would like to discuss the terms of the lease.
Exactly. I would like to take this moment to thank you.
Perfect. And again, like we looked at in the previous email, thank you in advance for your answers.
Okay.
Alex, just one question for you, really. Yeah?
Yes.
For the third one, it's got we would prefer a move-in date by the month's end. Do you use it in that way, or do you use by the end of the month?
By the end of the month.
Yeah, I normally use by the end of the month. I don't use that form so much, by the month's end.
No, not really.
I mean, I know it, and I've seen it
Yes, yes,
millions
you
of
can
times, but
see it, but honestly, it would just come less spontaneous to me by the
yeah,
end of the month, definitely.
yeah, because you could say like by the week's end, but you'd say by the end of the week, wouldn't you? I would anyway.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah. This is a thing. It's perfectly correct. I mean, and some people do use it. I just find it less natural. So I would
Yes, same here.
say by the end of the month, by the end of the week, by the end of the day, and so on.
Yeah, same here. That's the way I would use it also. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us today for our webinar.
Yes.
So, in the webinar, we looked at how we sequence things by using ordinal numbers. So, we looked at first, second, third, fourth, or also we looked at firstly, secondly, thirdly, for example,
Lastly,
lastly, finally. We looked at a couple of emails to decide if those emails were written in a formal or formal style. Yes. And we identified from those emails what made them formal and informal. And we reminded you about using or not using contractions for formal emails, for example. Alex said about the use of modals, which we use a lot of in formal emails also. And anything you'd like to add, Al?
no, we've just gone through the typical openings and closings, so such as hello for formal emails or other more colloquial expressions such as hi for informal emails, and closing such as I don't know, write soon for informal emails,
Bye.
and yeah, bye,
Bye.
or regards for formal emails.
Okay, so guys, again, thank you for listening, and hopefully see you in the next webinar.
Yes.
Have a good day and take care.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
guys.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.